All right, let's talk about something that feels like it's happening everywhere these days. You have this big tech company, they roll out a powerful new AI product, and then, in the very same week, they announce a whole wave of job cuts. So is this the future of work? Let's get into it and find out.
So, here's how it all kicked off. We're talking about CoStar Group, a giant in the real estate data world. They made a big splash, launching their new Homes AI feature for their website, homes.com. And you know, this wasn't just some minor update. This was a massive strategic play, using cutting-edge AI to try and completely shake up the housing market.
But here's the kicker. In the exact same week that they're celebrating this exciting new tech, a completely different, much darker story starts to surface. News of sudden, widespread layoffs. I mean, talk about whiplash. It was a huge, jarring contrast.
Okay, so you've got the flashy AI launch on one hand, and a bunch of pink slips on the other, happening at the same time. You have to wonder, right? Is this just really bad timing, a coincidence, or is there a deeper story here? What's really going on behind the headlines at CoStar? Let's piece it all together.
First things first, before we get into corporate strategy and all that, let's talk about the human side of this. What do we actually know about the people who lost their jobs?
So here's what we know for sure. CoStar did confirm that layoffs happened, but they were super cagey about the actual numbers. The story really exploded on LinkedIn, as these things often do. Former employees started sharing their stories. And when you look at who was let go, a clear pattern starts to emerge. It heavily hit the photo, video, and content teams. Think about that. The very people creating the visuals and the substance for the Homes.com portal that CoStar was pushing so hard.
Okay, so that's what we're seeing from the outside. But what was the official company line? How did CoStar explain this decision?
Well, in their official statement, CoStar framed all of this as a necessary move for growth. They mentioned their rapid growth and a new strategy focused on using more AI. The goal, and I'm quoting here, was to accelerate revenue growth and operational efficiencies. I mean, that is some classic corporate speak, right? It was pretty obvious they were making a major pivot and wrapping it in some very careful language.
And this is where the disconnect is just staggering. While the company's putting out this very carefully worded statement, CoStar CEO is over on LinkedIn celebrating the launch of Homes AI. He's posting all about it, but there's not one single mention of the layoffs or the employees who had just lost their jobs.
But hold on, because this is where the story takes a major turn. Turns out, CoStar wasn't just making these decisions in a vacuum. The company was facing immense pressure from some very, very powerful people.
Get this. Just weeks before the layoffs, two activist investors, these are firms that buy a huge stake in a company just to force changes, they publicly slammed CoStar's strategy. A hedge fund called Third Point called the Homes.com project a poor allocation of capital and basically demanded they shut it down. Then another big investor, D.E. Shaw, jumped in and said the same thing. Get rid of Homes.com and get back to your core business. It was a classic two-front attack from Wall Street.
So, let's put the pieces together. You've got massive spending, intense pressure from investors, and this shiny new AI technology. When you mix all of that up, yeah, you get a perfect storm.
And this timeline just lays it all out, plain as day. For years, CoStar pours money into Homes.com. Then, late January, boom, the activist investors launch their public attack. What happens right after that? Early February, CoStar launches its Homes AI, framing it as a move toward efficiency. And by mid-February, the layoffs are official. I mean, the sequence of events is pretty hard to ignore.
And if you're getting a feeling of déjà vu right now, you're not wrong. This isn't the first time. Just 1 year ago, CoStar laid off about 120 employees, many of them also connected to Homes.com. The reasons they gave back then were almost identical, a need for efficiency and the growing role of AI. So the really crucial thing to understand here is that this isn't a one-off event. It's a repeating pattern.
So why does this one company story matter so much? Because, honestly, it might just be a preview of what's to come for the rest of us.
So, what are the big takeaways from this whole mess? First, AI is increasingly being used as the public reason for operational efficiency, which, let's be real, often just means layoffs. Second, never ever underestimate the power of activist investors to completely change a company's direction. Third, we're seeing this massive shift away from growth at all costs to a new obsession with cost control. And finally, if you thought creative and content jobs were safe from all this, well, they're not. They are clearly not immune.
All of this really leaves us with one fundamental, massive question. As AI becomes more and more capable, companies are going to face this choice again and again. The CoStar story is just one example, but it forces all of us to ask. In this new age of AI, when companies are forced to choose between efficiency and people, which path are they going to take?